You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy dare try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy dare try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Wanna come round there like a bad boy, do it. Want all the talking, go on and do it. Running through the party, bottle of rolls in my ear saying storms, don't do it. Double on my shoulder, I don't lack. Getting with the business, I don't scrap. Even when I'm bar wars, I'm so easy right, but there's no car and no mash. What you talking about? Clown, stand down. Never had a thing, never had a pound. You were never bad then, you ain't bad now. Never had them, then look back down. Wait, I saw bare kicks, saw bare clothes. Said not that, I can't wear those. I don't like them, they're not my thing. They went silent, they're all weirdos. Like yeah, storms gone clear. Never had a Tom Ford or a Montclair. Man, them a calm, but you see my done there. Tell them don't do it, don't dare. Don't care who you know from my block. You're not Al Capone. They can take my car and my creps. I'll still do the road in my socks. Like who's gonna stop me? You, him, little man. I got blue slims. Don't be an idiot. Move smart. I've been killing it. New king. You ain't ready for my new stuff. You're a boy by yourself. Go and group up. And when Crep went states for the beat.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
If mad, it's a family thing, straight family thing. Dumb man, I broke no salary thing. Had a young thing called Amy telling me to come round hers on a Valerie thing. Hashtag Murky Academy thing. You were like art and the gallery thing. Dumb boy there wanna chat about bars, wanna chat about. You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look. I'm too hot. I got money in my shoebox. I'm the man of the house when my show sold out like the brother from the Boondocks. Beat Swan in my boombox. Still meat from the stew pot. Man, I'm go sick when my tune drops. Little man, that's a hooplo, not a hoopla. What? Pronounce it right. I got magic, I'm down to die for this. I don't care, bro, I'm down. Man stressed, so I'm bound to like my slips. Wait, I'm bound to ride for flips. Real G's gonna ride around to this. Man, I got no time to write at this. I never left my 9 to 5 for this waste man thing. I don't care what rave man's in. I came here to relax, but if it gets mad, make a young boy take man's things. Try to tell me I'm way too big to rebel. Nah, man, you're never too big to rebel. I was in the O2 singing my lungs out, rude boy. You're never too big for Adele. Leave my yard, blow a kiss to my girl. Salute to my sister as well. Gotta keep trophies down at my mum's bit. Man, I'm getting way too big for my shelf. Man, I see bare MCs on the sideline, but I still got a couple bangs in the pipeline. Man, I got grown men at me. You're getting way too old for the timeline. You're getting way too old for a diss. Should've looked after your kids. Get out the booth, go home to your son. It's never too late to commit. It's like man love, put my name in a random flat, get a plane to Qatar. This year I learned how to take care of business. Next year I'll learn how to play the guitar. You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy.
Now that the Cowboys have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about him.
The foundation of any good team starts up front, and here's a guy who's a franchise's dream come true. GMs I talked to pointed to several of his games in college where he took on some of the nation's best defensive linemen, going toe-to-toe with them for 60 minutes of brutal trench combat and dominating them. He's going to be able to protect the franchise quarterback in addition to opening up holes for the run game. With size, speed, and strength, he should have a very successful NFL career.
When it's hot outside, I wanna just chill with you. What you need, put a mind at ease. There's a little sunshine in the summer breeze. Yes, right. Baby, if you feel the same, let me know.
Cowboys have just picked up Addison. Adam, what can you tell us about him?
There are some experts who are ready to dismiss his high production in college since he never faced a top-tier defensive back. So finally, at the All-Star game, he was matched against one of the top defenders in the draft, and he came away looking very good. He was tightly covered all day, but that didn't stop him from hauling in several impressive catches. He solidified his position in the draft with that game, and now that he's been drafted, his new quarterback has to be excited to work with him in training. camp.
Pull up with Tommy the Clown to do the jerk, go to work and do that dance that'll make your whole body hurt. Playing Bombardier, Comic Live, this that time of the year for everybody to be boisterous. Rock with Snoop Dogg and rejoice to this.
As we go on, like we do. When it's hot outside, I wanna just chill with you, chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine in the summer breeze. Oh, yes, right. Baby, if you feel the same, let me know. If you feel the same, then let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
Shined up my white walls, night falls. I'm feeling good. I'm doing things that you never would, like surfing with the sharks or shooting in the dark, riding on a bike with my grandson at the park. Evolve while I elevate, take flight, levitate, breakfast for dinner. I'm cold as but summer ain't the winter. Finna, bender, Kona, on a 3-wheel motion. I'm headed to the ocean, caravan full of cars, neighborhood stars. Up the boulevard we go till we can't go no more. It's me and mine, it's summertime. You go off and we go on.
As we go on, like we do.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Just chill with you, chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine in the summer breeze. Oh, yes, right. Baby, if you feel the same, let me know. If you feel the same, then let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
The Buccaneers have made their selection. What can we tell you about him? That's why we have Adam Schefter.
He's a ferocious defender whose speed makes him a nightmare for offenses when he blitzes. After setting the team record for sacks in a game, he soared up draft boards. Scouts I spoke with raved about his football IQ, feeling he could captain a defense in a matter of years. Sources tell me that aside from his fierce reputation to get to the quarterback, his true value is that he can impact the game mentally as well as physically. Opposing offensive coordinators will need to give great thought to assigning a back or tight end to stay at home and block him during pass plays. This eliminates an offensive weapon and shifts the balance of power to the defense. Not many linebackers in this league garner that type of attention, making him a special talent.
Go up, yeah. I'm laughing to the bank. All new blue Benny Franks. Pulled up on him in the tank. Yeah, that guy just a rap guy. I'm so mad, fly in, he ain't. Let me back, tight gave me until I was going on Miami. They all cornballs. They can't stand me. I finesse.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Get a plan. Postcode at my whoa. Low. Got strain on yo-yo. She post up a MCM and we like that JoJo. When we out and we see him, he always ask for photo. I say, Lord, be my savior when it come to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't save her. Say amen. Yeah. That boys in that can't win. Check. Going up. We in it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Ripping up was honest. We was the drive at them Hondas. Now we pull up in the Fondas. Go up. Walk in. Show up. Baby, hold up. Blow up. Boy, don't touch. We flow. Blow up.
Let's go to Adam now, who has more on the Bears' last pick.
Every running back that played against him hated the experience as he netted the most tackles for a loss of any player this year and setting a new school record along the way. As Matt Miller put it, he has a knack for watching the ball, never being fooled by the play action, and getting to the ball carrier in the backfield. He had the ability to single-handedly shut down an opponent's rushing attack in school, but we'll see if that translates to the NFL.
She's so bad, but she said, I feel guilty, I might
All right, let's go to Adam Schefter, who's got more on this pick.
Well, there isn't much to say other than this kid was born to run. He's the spitting image of his father, a nationally ranked sprinter in several major events and highly recruited by every major college. However, unlike his dad, he chose to pursue a career in football, and so far that decision is paying off. He may not be gold medal fast, but he has the speed and quickness to cause fits for the opposing team. He's the type of player you like to see out in the open field where he can make moves a lot of other players can't. The coaches are going to love having his speed at their disposal.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Okay, I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now. Sit back down. Seem like everybody nowadays, Hollywood. Oh, it's like that.
The Eagles are going with Goodwin here.
It's always great to see a running back win the Heisman. It's like a sign that the old ways of ground and pound haven't completely vanished. He was a pure workhorse for the team and accounted for well over 60% of its total offensive production. Remove him from the team, and I strongly believe it wouldn't have finished at the top of its conference. And now he has the chance to carry the ball at the next level, and this team just got a gem of a player. We'll see if he becomes its primary ball carrier right from the start, or if it incorporates him into a running back by committee system.
A long way from equalist how they treat us. Body of a builder with the mind of a fetus. Turn on the television and see the vision they feed us. And I wish I could erase that. Face facts. Everybody people, everybody bleed, everybody needs some. Everybody love, everybody know how it go. Everybody people, everybody bleed, everybody needs some. Everybody love, everybody know. I've been knocking Joe down like it witness. God is my witness, I'm witness, but on the real I think I need another witness. If it was 17, black dad and white mama wouldn't change a thing. Light skin, certified as a house. Go figure, in my blood is the venom master. It's like the devil playing spades with the pastor. But he was born with the privilege. Man, what the fuck is that? People told me as a child, as a little boy playing with his toys, I should be ashamed. And some people look ashamed when I rap, like my great-granddaddy didn't take a to the back. Not accepted by the ghetto. I don't give a praise God, I can see the light. Everybody talk about race this, race that. I wish I could erase that, face facts. Everybody people, everybody bleed, everybody needs some. Everybody love, everybody know how it go. Everybody people, everybody bleed, everybody needs some.
We've just heard the Panthers pick is in. Let's go to Adam, who has more on Adams.
This is a player that many felt could be a solid role player in the NFL, but not a dominant force. That train of thought changed after one of the best defensive performances the College All-Star Game has ever seen. At times, it seemed as if he were everywhere on the field during the game, disrupting both the run and pass game for the opposition. Several scouts I spoke with pointed to that performance as evidence he could dominate at a high level, and sources have told me that more than one general manager felt he was the type of defender you could build a franchise around. Now all that's left for him to prove is if the All-Star Game was an aberration or a sign of things to come.
Must have done sang with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness. The law, it's a shame, rhyme. Crime. It's a shame they let us jump out of Bentleys with dirty vans. Hit the stage for 15 minutes, get 30 bands. Swiss bank counting clean money with dirty hands. With some hood that's ready to with the. Since I came in and made my name a name brand. French. Paris clubbing like a caveman. We threw up the pyramids, now they say we Illuminati. I'm a tsunami, what the it's a little yachty. No blood diamonds, I rock gold like a king. Jury so cold, made them blow the nose off the Sphinx. You think I'ma be some type of role model? I go full throttle, desperado, that's the motto. Vic in Chicago is Hugh Hef at the grotto. Brazilian model, she mean mugging like Frida Kahlo. Drinking it with an Alicia Machado. I'm the ticket, you just hit the lotto. Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness.
Pick's been made. Let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about the player.
A consistent performer his entire college career, he went out on a high note in his final game, recording 3 interceptions and being named the player of the game. General managers have been simply drooling over the opportunity to draft him, with one telling me he's as close to a sure thing as there is in this draft. He'll have plenty of opportunity to showcase his coverage skills this season, as he'll likely line up against some of the NFL's most elite wide receivers.
Shoot, hope with a club. The judge, you rappers is false flagging, you a fashion. What's cuz what you know about? What's Velo? Why Barry Lee, your head ringing? Free Big Missa, I'm a star, chain swinging. This that music, you can blame Reagan. I'm ball mayin' without paying. Y'all playing, we playing. My Himalayan. Gallardo, that's a sacrificial lamb. I'm season cam, no matter, blam.
Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The law, it's a shame, rhyme, crime.
Every other night I'm outside with the. You ain't got chips. The world, you got chips. You could the next man's girl. Sounds harsh, but they been ripped apart my world. The way Kiss told it should never be misquoted. The that you wave on the camera, we been toting. Selling love potion my whole rap career, so your streams and downloads could never match the kids. We could go foreign until it's boring. My sheep will keep jumping the fence until you're snoring. Street poetry, I'm more Wale for Lauren. Till the world is.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Written on to a table full of fresh skin in the type of rappers we know got the.
Adam Schefter has more to say about this pick.
A high-flying, hard-hitting defensive back, he was the subject of much criticism earlier this year after being unable to put together consistent performances week to week. Consistency
designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness. The law, it's a shame, rhyme, crime.
I look up, so many. Oh my God. So many. I done made sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. What you telling me? I sense the jealousy, I got telepathy, I got the recipe, I got the streets and I don't got no felony. Forward thinking, yeah, my mind is ahead of me. Mama said it's gonna be whatever you let it be. It's some homies I grew up with that's dead to me. It's some that I just made a debt to me. What's in common is they both pay respect to me. I get in my way from Friday to Friday. My girl is a mix of Aaliyah and Sade. I came a long way from that Marvin and I pull out the driveway like I'm in a car chase speeding. And if my she know I'm leaving. No text, no call, but at airplane mode. Code, no P code, no time to change clothes. Same clothes, love if you're living by the same code. G code, leave. You do that to me, back to my destiny. Penthouse, bird's eye view, that's a nest for me. I got myself out of debt, so when you see me, know you somebody I'll never need. Sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. I cut the drama out my energy. Focus on an inner me, never on an enemy. And I done sacrificed my own time. I done sacrificed my own mind. I done sacrificed the club life. I done sacrificed my love life. Look, I cut the drama out my energy. Focus on the inner me, never on the enemy. And I done sacrificed my own time, I done sacrificed my own mind, I done sacrificed the club life, I done sacrificed my love life.
I done sacrificed the thug life, diamond shining in no dull light. Drop my top to get my mind right, pull up in the Rari loud pipe. Them the dime, my wrist a Hyundai. Ooh, yeah, Gucci Python. Ooh, yeah, she play with her. Yeah, I bought that new charm. Pop on, I told her come see about. Come on, come see. The devil had entered my soul, my mama had beat the dot. The devil, my mama. Remember my grandma had told me you better be somebody. Hop in my seats massaging. Watch how I lead the posse. I made an M deposit.
Paid all these dues with the game. Sacrifice your strides for that stain. Sacrifice. Heard you sacrifice your life for that change. She sacrificed that money for white. Left hand got 3 rings. That's brum brum. We up one. Bad, dear savage. Take her to the mall and buy her some. That's gonna wanna make your friends come. Make way with the timing. Tell me, why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? 10 toes, yeah, you gotta stay down, eh? Just some yawn, looking for a way out, eh? People watching, yeah, I gotta skip town, eh? Hit my phone if you need a hold.
I done made sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. I know my great auntie was a slave. I could only imagine all the sacrifice she made. I could only imagine all that she had to take. I'ma make sure all the she gave wasn't in vain. I sacrificed for your entertainment, boy. I'm Mr. Anderson in the Matrix. Shake the last name, it's all facts. In the human race, it's all about pacing. Look at all the ones I outlasted. I'm the one at the end, like I count backwards. Never satisfied, details classified till the afterlife. Make a sacrifice down.
Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice?
Like the way it sounds, Frody? Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe. It's too hot, drop the top off the wagon. Lay back, fire like dragon. Man, I'm flying past Saturn. Out of here like I ain't that savage. Two. It's like I'm at the studio with Michael. You can hear me dancing on the beat. Bam, about to put a mansion on the beach. 100 Latins in your lobby. That's what happens when you're around with body. And I put that in my mommy. I will never give my heart to a I can just make a dance that goes with this song. Then I'ma be on. Basic, gon' dance to it. Basic, everywhere, gon' dance to it. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it. Let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, all in it. You gotta, baby, shake that, shake that, shake that. You gotta, baby, shake that, shake that. I got 2 shows, I'm about to pitch another. Throwing alley-oops to my brothers. We all shine, nobody victims. I'm on these sweatsuits, black Pippins. I swag different. That's why the money in the bag different. Come up short, you'll have your fam. I lay on beaches and swerving whips. You ain't serving, you just an urban myth. Every day, get ride around Queens on the jet ski, it's me. Every day, get to the day I die. Every day, get man, I that and I that bouncing up and down, nearly broke. sincerely broke. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it. Let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it.
I've been since my early days, I've been stuck in my worldly ways. Propaganda, press, pan the camera, please don't look at me in my face. Everybody might see my pain, off the rail, might myself. Bored with life as aboard this plane. Steward this sex if I need help. Maybe what's your last name? Hopefully it still ain't been changed. Something about you make me not doubt you. I will silence my brain, scream louder. Asking when I'm gon' myself. Couple problems, my cash ain't help. Human issues too strong for tissue. False provider, war mask by wealth. Move your body if you came here to party. If not, then pardon me. How I'm supposed to have a good time with death and destruction's all I see. Out the sight, I'm out of my mind. The sound of sunshine is calling me. The vibrations is all I need. All I need, all I need. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, move. Party people, I like to see you groove. This is how we do. This is how we do. Deja view from a bayside view. I see black cats in the daytime too. I see black cats on the daytime news. When handcuffed, wrist and his skin turned blue. I met God once at the rendezvous and felt starstruck.
Vince, the car's outside.
Got things to do, got to make my moves. I can't miss my flight and miss you too, boo. First class seats is overrated. Won't go lest they overpay us. Nowadays I'm overdating. My is strict for the hurt. Stay well acquainted. Their morning is calling me. Good vibrations is all I need. All I need. All I need. Move your body if you came here to party. If not, then pardon me. How I'm supposed to have a good time with death and destruction's all I see. In my mind, the sound of sunshine is calling me. Good vibrations is all I need. All I need. All I need. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, move. Party people, I like to see you groove. This is how we do. This is how we do.
The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Cowboys are now on the clock. All right, now that the pick's in, let's go to Adam. Adam, what can you tell us about this guy?
He's a receiver that had a relatively quiet offseason, with the only major concern being his ability to go up for the ball. According to the Combine, he had one of the shorter verticals among wideouts at just over 35 feet. On top of the vertical, he also missed on several high passes by just a few inches in passing drills. Even though he may lose most jump ball battles, he brings enough to the table for the team to pick him up. We'll see on game day where his coach decides to line him up.
I'm on flat show. I'm at Magic, I'm at Polish, let them go. Then it's right back to the when I'm low. Bars never close and we wide open. Kicking flavor with me, neighbor, yeah, we local. Rap the bottom, cause the bottom where we come from. Me no pray for little paper, need a lump sum. Real spill, yeah, I would rather be, yeah. Broke, real, little rich. All in love with her. She just wanna be in VIP with her. Don't blame me, oh, they just shake me. Had to get
Lions are now on the clock.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah, yeah, yeah. Dirty sort of treat me like a stain, yeah, yeah, yeah. Do whatever, get you paid, yeah, yeah, yeah. Roll it from the...
Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who's got more to say about the Lions' latest pick.
He's the type of offensive lineman that doesn't get mentioned often by the commentators, but when they do, it's complimentary. He's a smart, big guy who knows how to play mistake-free at the line. In fact, he won a stretch of games this season in which he didn't allow a single sack. That's an impressive feat for any college offensive lineman, and it's no wonder to see a team take him. He's going to have to adjust to the larger size and strength of NFL defensive linemen, but I think his intangibles are stronger than any lineman in this class.
Don't blame me, oh, niggas shame me. Had to get it how I got it on my own 2 feet. Don't blame me, I'm what the game made me, not what the fame made me. I won't let it change me, I'm the same, man. I stay myself, I never change, yeah, yeah, yeah. Dirty sort of treat me like a stain, yeah, yeah, yeah. Do whatever, get you paid, yeah, yeah, yeah. Roll it from the cradle to the grave, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Man, too broke to pay attention. Man. Yeah. Man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. The game is friendless, the pain is endless. The game changed, I blame these lame pretenders. My friends and Benzes talked at the entrance. Inside, you still hear the engine. Like, ren, this is your ending. If you're offended, I dare you defend it. This rushing through my blood like the Kremlin. I'm back with a vengeance. And this is what the sound of revenge is. Win-win, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. Where I come from, you can't visit. I talk money, I guess you understand different. Hand gestures counting till my hands blister. You can't miss us louder than Fran Drescher. Pinky rings, hand kisses, soprano. I feel like Paulie Castellano in designer stitches. I heard
The Redskins are now on the clock.
mind your business. What kind of honor is this? I'm trying to see Madonna, all kind of riches. In Miami, dining with the finest. Everybody acting kind of vicious. These politicians won't let my brother visit. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. He's a fake baller, globe trotter, bank account $4. No comma, I know you wanna pop collars. I know you wanna pop for collar. Top dollar, pull up in that top dollar. Yeah. She got that top dollar.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different.
That's it.
Montana.
You know, I'm like, yeah, nice P, you know?
What up, Pink?
Man.
La música de Harry Fraud.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I bring them things. I call them, he bring them things.
The Bears are now on the clock.
I bring them things, looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
Man, you don't want with them, bro. Oh, you, and it better get low. Extorting, you ain't got no friends. Oh, they'll be for that like a Chanel scarf like rainbow. $1,000, this ain't your cloth. You ain't, that ain't no sauce. I can see the noodles made for poodles. I'm thinking about the LaFerrari coupe. 1.8, the option is the roof. Greens is a secret to the youth. Your goals are malnourished. Please spit the juice. Y'all be vaping, I be laden. Yes, y'all be aping. I'm Richard Mill Nation. No diamonds, just tourbillon facing with gears and sprockets with the sapphire casing.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be.
The Rams are now on the clock.
Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I bring them things. I call them, he bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things, looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Salt Lake City Flyers are now on the clock.
Story about a kid from Morocco. Had to show Carlito I was Benny Blanco. Check it out. Raindrop. Offset. Plug. We the outlet. Child put me in the box. I'm in the box off. All the face shorty socks off. Mac Miller. Reggie Miller. The killer. Canaries. Back Stiller. White Villa. Fresh vanilla. Garage like a kill himself. Lauren Hiller. Get up. Crib Calabasas on the hill. I had a morning plate. Beatles on the red carpet. Alcatraz bars, crash cars, ain't no future in front. My homies rip your mask off.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I bring them things. I call them, he bring them things. Mucho. I bring them things, looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
Yeah.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
Young Gerald. Yeah. Die line with the boom pow. Every week now I switch to a new style. 212s in the back just blew out. Everything I do end up in the news now. Yeah, lead a club with a few now. Just some Hollywood and they do. I'm in the mood now. 2 a.m. What you wanna do now? What you wanna do now? Little baby pass. Don't spill on me. That's Margella. Got this Oakland game to tell her. She look familiar.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Isabella, forget it. Yeah, it's like a week ago, but
The Saints are now on the clock.
got some places we could go. Lot y'all got me speaking slow like
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Yes on yes.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Say less. Say less.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
You ain't got, you ain't no. Say less. Yeah. Say less. Hey girl, what it do? If you got friends, cool, bring a few through. No fun if the homies now R.I.P. Nate Dogg, this too true. And you know what I'm down for. Round 2, round 3, and a round 4. Mood switch when she knocked at the front door. Next up was the uproar. Yeah, was like a week ago, but we both know how weekends go. Tryna tuck off, got some places we could go. Swear she got the like wow, she's blessed, I'm blessed. I don't GA. You
Tryna, yes on, yes on, yes on, yes. Say less. Say less. You ain't go. Say less.
Sheesh. What you saying? I don't understand. I'm out my mind. I popped. Sheesh. I swear this lock shot got me stuttering. Girl, you not fall in love again. Sheesh. Get it. My favorite rush. You talkative, ain't gotta say too much. Be quiet. Who got some grapes? I'm trying to. I'm off board for these. Get in. Not complicated. No conversation. Get in. Not complicated. No conversation. Please say less. Please say less. Please say less.
I'm blessed. I don't GA. I'm tryna. Yes on, yes on, yes on, yes. Say less. Say less. You ain't go. Say
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Say less.
The Redskins are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock.
You ain't go. Say less.
Counting up the bills with my dominant hand. Yo, choose up. Take this, appreciate it. This too. If I tear up the rim shot. I'm going global, coast to coast like.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
I've yet to see a cobra. So off my rocker got me sipping club soda.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Some stars never blow up. I'm pitching in, never in the dugout. Reaching in my and I can't take a head count. Flashback, 03, things was looking run down. Now I set foot in the place, it's a luau. Killing like 10 counts. Y'all know how we get down. House with the fence around. Y'all know that we en route. Transition from the Impala to the Fisker. I should charge admission for that to get the dessert. Left the doors up, now the Lambo has pigtails. Since you getting comfy, I'ma let you sit there. I'ma let you stay there. When I shed a tear, they didn't have no care. So I'ma charge retail. I brought some cause you say you want sick. If you love sick in the room, you best get well. Every dog has its day. What the no tuck. Sway Lee Winter Magazine, double XL. Floss with your Gucci on. Dipped in colors burst on the cars and the jewels. I'm a wanted man. Seats looking like they got a spray tan. When I was without, not a helping hand. I got some guys that throw it back and make me drop the cans. I told Ben Frank just to drop a pin. I could let my fit go to the highest bid. Yes, I might drop in. It all depends. Junior high, I was dreaming of a 10. I'm coming clean though. I mean, not a spec. My girl be serving looks. I can the chef. Katana sword popping out my walking cane. I'm overseas, my Cali Bay like how was Spain.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Having issues, I bought a and it came with a wetsuit. The Buddha left me without breath. I really am a mess. I'm mooching off myself. She be hoping that
The Patriots are now on the clock.
I be open to that shrimp life. This is how we live. This is how we exist.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
And we love the hits. All in the house and I'm wrecking. If I sleep, I'm a wrecking. I'm in my own world. Throw the money up and make my own weather. Mommy playing. Tether on leather. Money talk, it's a lecture. 80 pointers dance on me, it's electric. Don't hate, I'm still unaffected. Chipper on my shoulder, I move undetected. She said pop the question got deflected.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Brethren, let's cut to the chase. It's only on the house when we in the place. Stirring up the cup with my wrist souffle. Shaka Zulu chains with my name engraved. I told you all swing, don't say my name in vain. We bring it to your door like, you rang? Spending all the money, then we watch it boomerang. With the Fendi belt, angry face like, put some gold on my fingers, neck, and shoestrings. Long time no see, that's what they say when they see me, man. I've been going crazy just to stay sane. Hey, your girl went missing, who's to blame? Young whippersnapper with a rage. Pause, then I went to range. Call that hottie on my stage. Long week, but a great day. So it got me like sage. And on me, you should get a raise. On me, yeah, you can hate.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Polo to the flow though. You already know though. It's Adamville for real. You see ya, just take a photo. I'm reppin' as on photo with a on your bro though. Cause that Dodo thought that he could rob a player for some dodo. Oh no, also Allen Temple. Also England Mountain. Also Mystic Valley. And I got a couple yesterday out of Cali. And my bag from the valley bought me brand new balance. That I'm playing with a no American dream, dusted roll. Man, she been riding since her daddy rode on bowl. I done in every hole, telling every I ain't with my wife, but if she meet her, might be a go. Rick Flair flashing. Don't I look dashing? Don't I look classy? Don't act so sassy. I'm the man, boo. That's with or without you. With what your say. Show me what that.
I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say I'm lonely at the top, but this the best. Hey, don't you see me out here shining, belly flex? I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say I'm lonely at the top, this the best. Ain't even
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
live forever.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
With 3 S's.
The Eagles are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
17 been counting M's, my bank accounts on Goofy. Say, gave up. Now who know?
The Lions are now on the clock.
My garage is full of hoops. It's got that southern drawl and all that. My like ball bags. The South got something to say, and all y'all can't get y'all ball back. If I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call sacks? Daddy fat, y'all never ball back. Like clocks in the wintertime, we stay eating like it's dinner time.
The Bills are now on the clock.
But it ain't no.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
So wet, boy, sweat now, it's been a while. Just speaking in general, boy, there is no formidable opponent or at that bone that you never step on it. When you wanna mind the kind of giving hope when they down and out. Dig a hole so deep, ain't no climbing out.
Yeah, I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say I'm lonely at the top, but this the best. Don't you see me out here shining, belly flex? I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say I'm lonely at the top, this the best. And even if we die today, don't live forever. Live forever.
Yo, listen, just like I told Coco, my vision is you already know though. So go slow, back my logo, for show, Pogo.
Get down on the.
Yo, listen,
Just like I told Coco, my vision is vision. You already know though. So go slow. Back my logo for show.
Adam, what can you tell us about that last pick?
It's unfortunate to see a player recovering from an injury only to have it happen again, especially in an exhibition game. It was one of the rare times I've seen a brutal injury at the annual All-Star game between future NFL players. He took a hit that tore his ACL a second time in less than a year. That kind of injury history might scare away most teams, but it didn't scare away this team from drafting him. I've been told by his agent he's still recovering from the surgery, but he should be ready to play for training camp.
Everybody circling his vultures, negative, nepotist. Everybody waiting for the fall of man. Everybody praying for the end of times. Everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run, I was born for this.
Whip, run me like a racehorse, pull me like a ripcord, break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, word upon your lip, rather that you rip, break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes, 'cause I love how it feels when I break the chain. Whatever it takes.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins.
I do what it takes. Oh, said I feel being typical. Looking at my body feeling miserable. Always hanging on to the visual. I wanna be invisible. Looking at my years like I'm out of dumb. Everybody needs to be a part of them. Never be enough from the prodigal son. I was born to run, I was born for this.
Whip, run me like a racehorse, pull me like a ripcord, break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, word upon your lip, rather that you rip.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Whatever it takes.
The Colts are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Chiefs just made their pick. Adam, what can you tell us about Clayton?
In college, he was always a playmaker, baiting the quarterback and making something happen after the interception. However, his problem areas were exposed at the All-Star game. Playing against some of the best receivers and passers in college, he struggled in zone coverage. He gave up a handful of big plays, always looking a few steps behind. One coach told me if he played a little tighter in coverage and made a play on the ball more often, it would have an instant increase in his production. We'll see if his new position coach can get him to do just that.
There's more to see. I'm just a product of the system of catastrophe, and yet a masterpiece, and yet I'm half deceased. And when I am deceased, at least I go down to the grave and die happily, and leave the body of my soul to be a part of me. I do what it takes,
whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes, 'cause I love how it feels when I break the chain.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins.
I do what it takes.
A king is born. I told you before. A king is born. Now I told you before. A king is born. Oh yeah. Oh no. Like a beast in the jungle, in the heat of the rumble, I ain't got nothing to lose. Hey, I've been fighting these hard times in the ghettos of my mind. Now it's victory that I choose. Hey, yes, my soul is blessed, the king is born. Mama, I confess I'm a bad, bad man.
The Jets are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Broncos are now on the clock.
like a bull in a glass house. No bull about to smash house. Can't
The Chargers are now on the clock.
I don't care what the place is. From the penthouse to pavement, you better hear what I say. Hey, yeah. It's my soul is blessed, the king is born.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Man,
The Packers are now on the clock.
I'm a legend.
The Bengals are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
'Cause I've been down so long that my crown and throne is threatened. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend, legend. King is born. Yeah, I told you before. Yeah, a king is born. Been broke before, but I never been broken. I told you before. I am the truth now. The truth has spoken. A king is born. Born. I heard these always hating, said I'll never make it. I heard these always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay.
Let's go to Shefty now with more on Sullivan.
Long talked about as a top 3 defensive back prospect, his draft stock fell dramatically after a series of consecutive struggles late in the season against inferior wide receivers. Many speculated that these struggles were due to a series of nagging injuries, a theory which may have been validated by his strong performance at his pro day. I was able to talk with several GMs about him at the Combine, and they told me he possesses the raw physical skills needed to become a top-tier NFL defensive back. 3 skills in particular were mentioned by every GM I spoke to: exceptional physicality at the line of scrimmage, a nose for the ball, and better hands than most receivers they've seen and scouted. The reason for his collegiate struggles may forever be shrouded in mystery, but they'll soon be forgotten if he's able to realize his full football potential.
The Patriots are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock.
He's mad at me, goodies on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I heard he trying to.
The Bears are now on the clock.
It's okay, don't got it, you really want it. I spent 13 on the ring and now I feel unlucky. Hey, she love my diamond ring, she said she wanna touch it. It's okay, I get 30K just to hit the stage. Hit my Michael, in my Michael J. I get cake, I cannot complain. Been finessing since I was a kid. In the 2nd grade, selling lemonade. Get paid, hold up, wait. Can I get paid? Yawn, in a break, feel like I'm in space. See a snake, kill a snake, get paid. Get left every day, so get your straight. I heard he's always hating, said I'll never make it. I heard he's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
It's okay, it's okay. I heard he's mad at me 'cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me, goodies on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Mad 'cause I'm trying to feed my family. Why I gotta watch a friend more than an enemy? I had to.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
Had to cut you off.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
You were supposed to be my dog, why you
The Panthers are now on the clock.
tell your friends to some enemies? That is crazy. 'Cause it's shining, now you act shady.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Okay, my mama told me you would show me your ways. Yeah, but I gotta check with him. I had the bands. Pull up.
The Bills are now on the clock.
I heard he's always hating, said I'll never make it.
I heard these all talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Picture me putting my city all over the map. They wasn't believers, I had to get even and mad. We coming up, pulling up, jumping all over your grass. So tell them I got a new girl. Tell them that I'm in the bank and I want all my 50s in cash. I'm tired of living check to check. I need 20 models. This is smiling in my grave, fresh to death. I've been Wu-Tang with a spectre deck. Yeah, I gotta just get off my chest. I cannot miss, I got lots on my list and you next. Take it how you want it. I ain't famous like I want it, but I think I might just skirt off. Blow the speakers and turn up. Pop up. Go to church with my shirt off. Tell the Lord that I'm here now. I've been waiting for so long. I've been patient for so long. Breaking rules like there's no laws, and I did it for a long.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
There's a long line. Nice to meet me. I think the pleasure's all mine. They've been clocking me so long, I think they lost time. Ooh, you lost. What you mean? Woo! What you mean? Woo! And now I'm just a so what you mean? Woo! Hold up, whoa, what you mean? Woo! Hold up. Don't know what you think it compare me to. Adrenaline popping, the blood'll be leaking and running. Yeah. I do what I do, I don't care if you like it or love it. Tell all of my I got a new girl. Wait. You tell the that I'm in the bank and I want all my money in hundreds. I'm tired of living on the edge. I want it, they gon' call the feds. I just bought a cost an arm and leg. My mama told me take it back and get a job instead. Where's your common sense? Me and the devil got too much in common, I swear. Yeah. Born in the ghetto, I never had nothing to fear. Take it how you want it. I ain't famous like I want it, so I might just throw a iffy fit. Call up Cassie after she broke up with Diddy, yeah. I told Shorty if she talking, and she gon' call her friends up and we did, whoa. I ain't in the talking, go chop off your lips. If I ain't in your top 10, go top 4 for bridge. My black boys, I boys that knock off your lid. I thought y'all gon' pop off, so hop off my.
The Salt Lake City Flyers are now on the clock.
I said, what you mean? Woo! Listen, I don't trust her. So, no, I said, what you mean? Whoa. I said, what you mean? Woo!
You thought I was finished, you thought it was over. You thought I retired, you thought I went fishing with Kobe. I'm still as ill as considered as one of the coldest. Still a put a partner rapper here like Moses. I'm throwback like I'm Mola Roller. I'm cooler than a cup of yogurt. Black flag boy, truck soldier. I'm cool with laws and I got told.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
And ogre. I'm King Kong, ain't nobody told you. You think Rose still. And Bobby Brown about to go get. Paul McCartney, I'm rich. I'm Muhammad Ali, I talk. I'm James Brown, about to tear down this. I'm Michael Jackson, some bad gon' get. What you mean?
The Cardinals are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though ambition, flow inside my DNA.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
This immaculate conception, I transform like this, perform like this with new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate. Then off your.
The Rams are now on the clock. The Chiefs are now on the clock.
I got realness, I just killed this 'cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Win again like Wimbledon I serve. Yeah, that's him again. The sound the engine in is like a bird. You see
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
Boulevard. I know how you work. I know just who you are. See, use it. Your hormones probably switch inside your DNA. Problem is, all that inside your DNA. Daddy probably snitch. Heritage inside your DNA. Backbone don't exist. Born on side a jellyfish I gauge. See my pedigree most definitely don't tolerate the front. Like been through probably offend you. This is Paula's oldest son. I know conviction burners, boosters, ballers, dead redemption scholars, fathers, kids.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Yeah. Soldiers did.
The Jets are now on the clock.
My expertise checked out in second grade. When I was 9, on sale motel, we didn't have nowhere to stay. At 29, I've done so well, hit cartwheel in my estate. And I'm gon' shine like I'm supposed to. Antisocial extrovert. And excellent meaning extra work. And absentness, you hurt. And passiveness never struck my nerve. And that's a riff gonna be this case. The reason my power's here on earth. Salute the truth from the prophecy.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
This is why I say that hip-hop has done more damage to young African Americans in recent years. I never bet my DNA. This is my heritage, all I'm inheriting. Money and power, the Mecca emeritus. Tell me something, you can't tell me nothing. I'd rather than to listen to you. My DNA not for imitation. Your DNA an abomination. This how it is when you in the matrix, dodging bullets, reaping what you're sowing, stacking up the footage, living on the go and sleeping in the villa, sipping from a Grammy, walking in the building, diamond in the ceiling, marble on the floors, beaches out the window, peeking out the window, baby in the pool, Godfather goes, only Lord knows, I've been going hammer, dodging paparazzi, through the cameras, eating 4 daughters, Brock wearing sandals, yoga on a Monday, stretching to the fender, watching all the snakes, curving all the fakes, phone never own, I don't conversate, I don't compromise, I just penetrate, money, these are the breaks, these are the times, level number 9, look up in the sky, tennis on the way, sinners on the way, I got winners on the way, you ain't without a on your belt, you ain't without a ticket on your plate, you ain't sick enough to put it on yourself, you ain't rich enough to hit the light escape, tell me when destruction gonna be.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
Peace to the world, let it rotate, money, DNA.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Put my problems in them. Only check up when the checks come. My pockets looking blessed up. All the talking never stressed us. They talking like they jealous of me. They talking like they never love me. They talking like they next door. I still treat them like so. Showers on the way. I've been working 25 hours every day. Pull up with the bands, have them dancing in the
The Bengals are now on the clock.
bands, have them dancing in the rain. Yo. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got look like right now, I'm impatient.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah.
The Titans are now on the clock.
I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Promises and wish.
The Patriots are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock.
For the things I go missing now, promises and wishes. Why would I ever start celebrating? Why would I ever start celebrating? I'm naming all the hearts I've been breaking. I'm naming all the hearts I've been breaking. The showers on the way.
The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish I'm well, yeah. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me.
The Lions are now on the clock. The Bills are now on the clock.
I done came up, bustin' down the whole broke, it's that bag. Want your people swag, ain't even gotta ask. What are those, what is that? Please don't touch my rap, please don't touch my rap. I'm racked up like rappers, I'm wrapped up on camera, hit out on camera, squeeze like ass.
Adam, what can you tell us about Ross?
One of this draft's toughest players, here's a guy who played the majority of his final collegiate season with a broken foot. Long suffering with plantar fasciitis in the affected foot, doctors discovered several hairline fractures across the first, second, and third metatarsals during a routine therapy session. Translation? His foot was essentially shattered. Recovery took months, and he used the time wisely, studying film of just about every NFL team and preparing for interviews. No surprise that he blew scouts and even a few GMs away with his knowledge of NFL offensive schemes. This is an intelligent, hard-nosed defensive back who's going to make his fair share of big plays before his professional career is over.
About a million to the look of the runway, in the kitchen. Ralph Simmons, all kind of crazy colors, living colors, left wrist, roll it, ice. Make some Margiela my sweater. Mama told me never settle.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Gotcha, wanna.
Huh? Wait, don't wanna talk about the paper. I swear to God, these be haters. They be hating, I feel out of. Live in cul-de-sac, don't get along. Ooh, right with my neighbors. Diamonds on my neck and roll it on. Now I later got undefeated flavors. I'm with my lifesaver. Ooh, feel like Darth Vader. I'm a boss, you know I might riff it. Ooh, rap in my basement. Yeah. But you know that I'm gon' face it. Wait, that's the reason that they mad. Cause Lil Uzi, yeah, he made it. Yeah, I would have rap for I made it. Yeah, I would have rap for I made it. Yeah, got that rap all in my basement. Yeah, once I got patience. Yeah, I'm famous. Yeah, put myself inside Mark Jacob. Hey, making a place with my label. I get it, I count it. 100 on my table.
Sterling silver laces. Rubies red, my skin too black to blush, too red to tint, not pages. This ain't on the wizard up. Pockets full of mint lead. It's smelling like it brushed teeth. Say cheese, see the pork.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Backwoods.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
On the floor. In it. I'm torching the road in these Gucci flames. Stuck to the pavement, they glued. I'm 2.5 million in the venue and 2,500 a tube. I'm cold like I'm sick with the flu. I cover my face and I'm spring summer 2002. Yeah, please don't touch my ride.
The Colts are now on the clock.
With the teddy, quick with the hands ready. Please don't touch my ride.
The Rams are now on the clock. The Redskins are now on the clock.
Please don't pop my tie. Been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding 85, I've been thinking way too much. And
the Raiders are now on the clock.
I got anger in my chest, I got milk millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe.
LOV on my right leg, that's Gucci. Dig what I'm saying? LOV on my man, that's Poochie. Dig what I'm saying? Caught a little jet lag, but I'm golden. Yeah. We deserve Grammys and some Oscars. They deserve whammies, they imposters. I be rolling with my project homies, it's a vibe. I just put the homie, it's a vibe. Over switch sides, it's a vibe. Yeah, yeah. I gon' do it, gon' do it, gon' do it. I gotta accept that I'm a. Yeah, yeah. I pull up in several different options. Yeah, yeah. That I would most ever. I shatter your dreams with this cream I make. What? Gotta be on the thinker. I say. What?
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Hold up. I was in the double R when I rolled.
I've been rolling on the freeway. I've been riding 80.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest. I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe. I've been rolling on the freeway. I've been riding 85. I've been thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest. I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Dig what I'm saying, Chanel drapes on me daily. Dig what I'm saying, sponsored by Mercedes. Dig what I'm saying, this Creek Cologne is on me, baby. Dig what I'm saying, I'm going hard, yeah. I pop in your memory. You should be glad I'm showing you sympathy. I gave you pure love out the gutter, Ever let you go, you gon' suffer from it. I gon' do it. I gotta accept that I'm a. I pull up in several different options. Yeah. That I would most ever. I shatter your dreams with this cream I make. What? Gotta be on the thinker. I say. What? I can't feel my toes, but they gon' fold up. I was in the double R when I rolled. Yeah.
I feel like I should be giving up.
The Jets are now on the clock.
It's too much, but I'm tired of you, me on. And I don't like where this is going. And I've been stuck in all your apologies. Gave my all, but you wanted more from me. Keep your love, it doesn't feel the same. I hope it hurts you when you hear me.
The Falcons are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Cowboys are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Hopped out the Benz like it's common sense. Got a monkey on my.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Gorillas in the streets like it's common sense. Stack the money heads up like it's.
The Patriots are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock.
On the same block like an hour later. Whole team eating, but it's only right. There's a spare plate, but you're the phony type. J-Hut's ugly in it. Baby, 1 minute. You're looking wicked. Hey yo, I started off gentle. My stroke game mental. My lifestyle eventful. I didn't mean to offend you. Fendi belt saying I style like I'm mental. Moving wild and mental. I made another 5 this week. Your money playing hide and seek. I don't even like to speak.
The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
Hopped out the Benz like it's common sense. Got a monkey on my feet.
The Lions are now on the clock.
In the streets like it's common sense.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Gotta stay pulled up like it's second nature. Keep the chip in my hair like it's second nature. Big make me share like second nature. You're gonna do it, yeah, I haven't did it. I'm handling handling it, handy with it. Think I'ma do it, let that do it. Bang, stick jam like what happened to it. Was it not working, bruv? Why you think I'm lurking, bruv? Creep on him, lean on him, witnesses eavesdropping. Keep popping, they keep bopping like I ain't seen nothing. Don't make me upset, reach for an object. Who's that in the passenger? Brown skin, got big body. In my face, on me. Money, I got that for me. You're not popping, never pop nothing. Stop bluffing. Your opinion, always destined for brilliance. Wouldn't rest on a million. Dressed as civilians. All them masked up looking creepy. Park up, jump out, jump in. Skirt out like it's too easy. If anybody else didn't see me. Doing styles on them like it's common sense. Hopped out the Benz like it's common sense. Put a monkey on my feet like it's common sense.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Common sense. Stack the money heads up like it's second nature. Gotta stay pulled up like it's second nature. Keep a chip in my ear like it's second nature. Big make me care like it's second nature.
The Seahawks are now on the clock. The Cardinals are now on the clock. The Redskins are now on the clock. The Colts are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock.
Just to let you know, I've been ballin'. I've been ballin'. Just to let you know, I'm ballin'. I'm a smoke. Make it rain, just to let you know. Tell a hater, get up out my face. Yeah, I've been ballin' since like yesterday. Yeah, all this money all up in the way. All this money in the way. You know that I'm walking with the bank. Water, diamond on my ring. You know that I'm rockin', feel the blue. You know that, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Every day I'm shot callin'.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Make it rain, just to let you know I've been ballin'.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a smoke. Make it rain, just to let you know. Yeah, you cannot see me, the windows is tinted. Driving around right in that Bentley. You driving around right in that Bentley. But your shit, it just be rented. But that is none of my business. Money won't stop me, go straight to the top. Believe it or not, you like getting the same. She know I'm a rock star. Looking at my chain on my diamonds rock hard. Turned the way up, I ain't getting tired. And if you wanna race, then we gonna ride. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spike.
The Giants are now on the clock.
I've been ballin'. I've been ballin'. Just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a smoke. Make it rain, just to let you know.
People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Man, amen. Spent about 60 on the time, I can't even lie.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Do or die, so on roll when I roll, must be. Amen, man. I can't ride Benz, I don't do peace. I beast.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Tooth, tiger, diamond, tooth, teeth.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
You compete. I was outside. The way that shake, leave your mouth wide. You need to say grace for you say thanks. Amen, man. What's left in my life, don't know what's in store. I've been dealing with these blessings that I can't ignore.
The Chargers are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. The Redskins are now on the clock.
Run it in our house for us 12 o'clock. Yeah, the hood love me, but you gotta watch. Amen. I just three, I don't do.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Yeah, we gon' fall.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Amen.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Moved it to the west. Iced the logo on the cross, threw it on my neck. Yeah, when I rep the set, gotta stay blessed. Yeah. Amen. People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen. Man, what it meant to me. Everybody try to take the identity. Everybody around me turn to a friend of me. Sit back while I take on a remedy. I cannot let it get into me. This playing a toll on me, meant to me.
The Patriots are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Rather you than me. If you've been with me from Port of Miami, it's been a journey. Ain't nothing changed. A little stronger, a little wiser. Maybe a little more. Blame it on America. I'm pulling off the lot, I bought again.
The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
I run the game just by running with the pro attitude, they got rich calisthenics. Walking in the courtroom, sipping on the beverage. I know the judge, so I got a lot of leverage.
The Lions are now on the clock. The Bills are now on the clock.
Got a rapping acapella. Whoa. Kim Treasure people with the weather. Whoa. I got it. Boy, don't make me be the devil. Whoa. He knocking on the door and know the password. Gave me his blessings while I'm hotter than the last verse.
Dead president, dead president. Dead president, dead president.
Let's go, all my little militant. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Dead president, dead president. Dead president, dead president.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
I got that like Tommy Lee. I make
The Steelers are now on the clock.
money. On my third passport in them. I got at the airport. I got bowling green dollars on my dollars. Busting down 100 in the bathtub. Get some house shoes. I got money. I got war wounds. Get the clutching on that. Ain't no dance moves. I was posted on the stoop, hanging with my Haitians. On the news, on front pages. Ain't no relations. I was stacking being Franks and Boston. 2 times in a row, that's a repeat. You end up, cause they easy.
The Seahawks are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock.
Maybe flooded out with extra cheese.
I make up every single day. I judge a vulture when I flip the paddock face.
Dead president, dead president, dead president, dead president.
Let's go, all my little militant. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Dead president, dead president, dead president, dead president.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Hands on me, got the yellow brace. Check off in my pocket like the yellow paste. Was what I was asking. Low facility, I keep it classy. Build an empire, yeah, that was my state of mind.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Keep the blocks over there, we call it Lego Land. Meanwhile, it's like it's Amsterdam. Boy, fresh, you know who got the tropes. 16 when I bought my first rollie. Legend in my hood, just like I'm never riding.
The Colts are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock.
Dead president, dead president.
Let's go, I'm innocent.
Yeah. Starts with a feeling, and you ride it like away. Crashing so the sparks can come together. Don't need a reason why the universe was made. It goes on and on and on and on forever. And it's a long flight on this battle star where we fight for love no matter where we are. And there's a big bang in this universe, and it makes me feel like the go don't work. You got me like ooh, you got me like you got me like and ooh, with all the things you do, yeah, anything and everything a man can feel. Well, honey, I'm feeling with you. Baby, you're flashing, and I'm blinded by your light. I love the way you Jupiter is rising. You got me reacting like a lunatic tonight. I love the way the stars are all aligning. You got me like ooh, you got me like you got me like and ooh, with all the things you do, yeah, anything and everything a man can feel. Well, honey, I'm feeling with you. You got me like ooh, I'm feeling you.
You make me feel like the world's spinning like a satellite.